Hi, happy 2025 everybody. I'm CruisinJules. I'm gonna start out the new year talking about Antarctica. I took my first Antarctica cruise November 2024. I'm gonna tell you about what I think about Antarctic cruising, the cruise line I was on, and would I go again. But I'm not gonna make you wait and find out till the end of the video. First of all, the cruise line that we went on was Atlas Ocean Voyages. It's a newer cruise line. They've been around for a few years now. Their ships are only like 2 or 3 years old. We're not even, so they really haven't been cruising that long. The company might have been around longer than that, but they're newer to cruising. I'm not going to make you wait till the end of the video to let you know if I would cruise with Atlas Ocean Voyages again, or if I would take a cruise with them to Antarctica. I'm going to let you know now. The answer is yes, I absolutely would cruise with them again. I love that cruise line. And I would also recommend them for Antarctica. If you stick around through the video, you'll find out my reasons why. Some of the things that I learned about cruising to Antarctica in the pre-planning process, or in, let's just call it the idea process, I learned a couple things that I didn't know until 2024. And that was, if you want to go to Antarctica, really there's only a few ways you could get there. So like the big one is cruising if you're a tourist. The second one is, I do think there are some tour agencies, but there's not too many of them, and I think it would be really difficult to plan that kind of holiday. Third is, if you're a researcher, maybe you could go to Antarctica as a scientific researcher. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to talk about going there as a tourist, and specifically as a cruising tourist. Now, in terms of cruising there, you've got two choices: the big cruise ships or an expedition vessel. I'll tell you what the difference is and why I chose to go with Atlas Ocean Voyages. If you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a big cruiser and I usually go on the big cruise ships. I have been on a couple small cruise ships before, but this was definitely the smallest. I'll let you know why I chose it. So let's first of all talk about the big cruise ships. I always thought if I wanted to go to Antarctica, the way to do it would be on a big cruise ship. I'm going to show you why. All right, we've got North America, South America. Here's the Antarctic Peninsula. Right here, we've got the Drake Passage. And the Drake Passage is known to have some of the roughest waters in the world. It's about a 2-day sail from the tip of South America to the Antarctic Peninsula. When you go through the Drake Passage, that can be super rocky and you don't know what to expect. So you could get the Drake Lake or you could get the Drake Shake. Well, I always thought if I'm going through the Drake Passage, I want to do it. I want to do it in style, and I want to do it on the biggest ship possible. One of the reasons why on the big ships is because generally the bigger the ship, the less you're going to feel the waves, especially with the newer cruise ships. They've got the stabilizers and you have more places to go because you got a lot of sea days there, so you've got a lot of things to do. All right, well, this is what I found out. The big cruise ships really just do a cruise in the peninsula, like a cruise. They're just doing cruising. You're not actually getting off the ship and going on to the continent. If you want to go on the continent and do landings, your only option is to take an expedition ship. And the reason why is because the expedition ships are smaller, they're heavily regulated. They're really regulated by the Antarctica Treaty or the tourist organization. It's called IATO. One of the rules is there's a limit on how many passengers can go ashore a day and how many can go ashore at a time. At this point in time, so now we're into 2025, it's 100 people per landing. So you have to think, if you're on a big ship with 3,000 people or 4,000 people, do the math. It's just not feasible. Also, there's nowhere to dock. I'll get into that later. I don't know if you saw my video on the 3x cruiser. What do you think of your Princess Cruise? But me and my friend Karen were debating, how do we get to Antarctica? And, you know, did we miss out on an opportunity? And well, we found an opportunity when we got home from that cruise and we booked it. So I kind of kept it quiet until now, but yeah, we've done it and we've sailed there. We booked that cruise within a week of getting back from our other South American cruise, which was 14-day Buenos Aires to San Antonio, Chile. And I do recommend that too. That might be something you can combine with an Antarctica cruise, or that might just be a whole different cruise altogether. Now, if penguins is your draw, you could see them on either of those cruises, and they're going to be different kinds of penguins and different kinds of colonies. So you've got two options. We were a little bit on the fence at first, and we were like, oh yeah, we could do the big cruise ship, and if we really like it, we could go back one day. Well, no, we just decided, let's just do what we want to do and do it right. So we chose the expedition way. Now, not knowing a whole lot about expedition vessels other than some familiarity with the brand names, it was just a fluke that we ended up booking with Atlas Ocean Voyages. So I'll tell you a little bit about that process. One of the things I do is I love researching cruises and cruise ships, and I'm kind of interested in prices too to do things, even though some things may be out of my reach, but I just still like to look. I was like, oh wow, those expedition cruises are really kind of up there in prices, and you know, it wasn't really something that I wanted to spend that much money on. But coincidentally, within that first week of being back, there was an ad that came out for a travel agency for 2-for-1 on Atlas Ocean Voyages. Let's talk about the cost. Realistically, I don't think you could go to Antarctica for less than $10,000 these days if you want to do an expedition cruise. Like I mentioned, it was kind of a fluke that we picked Atlas Ocean Voyages, but I loved that cruise line. It was such a great time. I had the nicest stateroom out of any of the cruise ships that I've been on. I'm gonna do a part 2 to this video, which is actually the ship tour, and it will show what the stateroom looks like. So your accommodations and then also the public areas. Something that you get with this cruise line is you're going to get a parka that comes with a vest. I don't think you'll be able to miss it. You're gonna get this neon or lime green parka. Kind of has these straps, so in case you get hot or you're walking around somewhere other than Antarctica, you could put it over your shoulders. But in Antarctica, you're gonna keep your jacket on. It's got like a reflective hood. I think all the expedition cruise lines are giving out parkas. I don't know if they charge extras. This has lots of pockets and it's comfy. It's super warm. There's a lot of pockets. Nice quality zippers, pockets in the sleeves. I think it's a good quality jacket. I didn't actually think I would ever buy a winter coat again that didn't have down in it, just because I'm from Canada and the winters here can be pretty cold. Now let me tell you about the temperature we had in Antarctica. It was between 0 and -2 Celsius. We had anything from snow and drab to blue skies and sunshine. So we had all kinds of weather, which really made the cruise great because I did kind of want to experience Antarctica in different scenarios. 0 to -2 Celsius, especially when it's sunny. It was nothing. This jacket was so warm. So if you're worried about, are these jackets warm? I wouldn't worry about that. It's not a concern. If you're curious about the winter jackets and how they fit, well, they're unisex. For me, I just chose my regular size. I don't know, if you're a man, you might want to go up a size. I'm not sure. You get to keep your jacket. There's a mudroom on the ship. You could keep your jacket there during the cruise. You just grab it on the last day before it's time to pack up. In terms of boots, they'll supply you with these big, thick muck rubber boots. Everybody gets the same kind of boot. However, it's like a unisex boot, but then there's also like kind of a smaller version for women if the unisex size doesn't work. They were comfortable. My feet were warm the whole time, so that wasn't an issue. I'll show you about the boot washing machine, but they're very particular about keeping the boots clean on the bottom, especially there's a bird flu, so it's very important that you're not transferring any kinds of seeds or dirt from one place to another. Do you want to know how to get there? There were people from all over the world on the ship, but I would say the bulk were from North America. We met in Buenos Aires, Argentina, down and around here, but that's not where we cruised from. They chartered the air flight from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia. Ushuaia was the southernmost city in the world, but now there's kind of like a debate on, are they really the southernmost or is it Port Williams in Chile? We'll just say it's the southernmost city in Argentina. Most Antarctica cruises will depart from there or Port Williams. That's where we boarded the ship. I'll make a video about what it's like to board the ship in Ushuaia. That's my third time there too, so I'm gonna maybe make another video But one of the things that we did do before we got to the ship is a bus tour through the national park, and then we stopped for lunch. And you might like lunch if you like scallops. I'm not a big seafood person. The food on board was great. I'm gonna do some videos about what type of food it was, what kind of offerings. This was the typical day. Breakfast, you can order at your table or you could go to the buffet. It's the same table and it's the same dining room. For lunch, it was a buffet, and then dinner, it was a buffet the first night, and maybe the last night was a buffet too, and then every other night was sitting down at a table and ordering off of a menu. But one of the things that I did like about Atlas Ocean Voyages that maybe some of the other cruise lines don't offer is just the size. So even though you might be going on an expedition vessel, maybe research ahead of time what's the passenger capacity on that ship. Our capacity was around 198 people and we had 159 passengers. But some of the other cruise lines go up to like 378 passengers. So remember what I said, only 100 people are allowed on shore at a time. I don't know how the bigger expedition vessels do it, but ours worked out great. We had a group A, B, C, and D. Typically A and B went first, then C and D went, and then we switched the next day. I thought it was a really good system, and then it just gave everybody a chance to go on shore. When we were in Antarctica, we did either a Zodiac cruise or a shore landing. One would be in the morning and one in the afternoon. So I guess we did that 8 times. Another great thing about Atlas Ocean Voyages, at least our ship in particular, which was the World Traveler, was that we were allowed to go onto the bridge whenever we wanted, 24/7. And unless maybe there was some kind of storm or some really important issue going on, but anytime I had walked down there, I had access to the bridge, and that was kind of neat. So you could see the captain and the senior officers out there. Not every ship's gonna let you do that. I think maybe the expedition team can make or break a cruise, and I didn't really know how important that would be in picking a cruise line. I just have to say, I was just super impressed with the competency and the professionalism. Thank you.
All right, have a seat.
Okay.
Let's practice for next time. Sailor's grip, remember from the video?
Oh, right, sailor's grip.
All right, here, and then. Enjoy.
They've come from all over the world, and I'll bring different experiences, in particular polar region experience, and you have a lot to learn from them if you want. They are all very approachable, and it really just made the holiday great. But speaking of holidays, one thing I was told at the beginning by the expedition team leader was, this is not a holiday. This was an expedition. So I'll get into that in another video. Another thing I liked about the ship, it's a newer fleet. So right now there's 3 ships and they're all sister ships. So you're probably gonna get pretty much the same look and feel, but maybe the interior furnishings might look a little bit different, like the colors or, the carpeting or that type of thing, the soft furnishings. But overall, you can expect a very luxurious interior. I don't know how to compare it to some of the other brands, but I was very impressed. Had nothing to complain about in terms of the interior. One thing I will mention now, and maybe I won't wait till the other video, is that some of the public decks outside though really weren't functional. Like there's no lounge on the back deck. So there was lounge furniture, but it was kind of roped up. It probably wouldn't have been an ideal situation for sitting out there anyway, just because of the climate, but I'm just letting you know. This is more of a general thing, not so much just related to Atlas. If you're going there and you're going to be doing landings on an expedition, just remember there's no docks. You're going to have to transfer from the ship onto the Zodiac. So when should you go to Antarctica? Here's my advice. I would say the sooner the better, but if you have to save up, do that. But don't wait until you're not healthy or you're too old to go. You're really moving around a lot. You don't have to be super fit, but you kind of have to be somewhat fit. Do an honest assessment of your mobilities, because you're stepping from the expedition ship onto a Zodiac, and you got to move fast. When you do the landings, like the Zodiac pulls up on shore, and yeah, there's people there to help you, but you've got to maneuver around, and you're climbing up hills and there's snow and ice. So Yeah, you've got some ski poles to help you. The weather wasn't too bad for us. We wwere pretty lucky. We had the Drake Lake. It's a little rocky going there. You get the 24-hour room service, which I think every cruise line I've been on has had that, but I never use it. Oh, you know what was great too? Is the cruise line has professional photographers on board, and then after you've been home, they'll email you a whole photo package, like photos and videos of the cruise. So that's nice too. If you don't have your own camera equipment or don't want to be bothered with that, then the cruise line will sort that out for you. But everybody gets the same photo package by email. Anyway, those are the reasons why I would go on Atlas Ocean Voyages. If you are thinking about doing a cruise to Antarctica, I would recommend do it. Just do it. Just book it and do it. If you don't know which cruise line to go with or you're indifferent, I'd say give Atlas a try. They're priced a little bit lower still than some of the other competitors in the space. I don't know if that's because they're a newer cruise line and people don't know about them enough yet, or, you know, maybe that's just the way their pricing is going to be. But now's a good time to book. So I'll give you an example. You know, let's look at a similar itinerary to what we did, and then this will be the price. All right, so subscribe to the channel if you want to see the next video I do on Antarctica. And I'm also going to be doing some other ship tours. So sign up to the channel if this helps. Give it a thumbs up. All right, we'll see you.